Life has a way of testing us through the eyes and actions of others. You can pour out your kindness like rivers overflowing their banks, and still someone will stand on the shore unmoved. You can lend your ear, your shoulder, your time, and your strength, only to be met with silence or even betrayal. And yet the lesson here is not to stop being kind. The lesson is to understand that kindness is a reflection of you, not a guarantee of them. That truth alone is why you must stay with me through this message, because it may free you from the weight you've been carrying, the weight of thinking you must do more, give more, be more, in order to finally be seen, loved, and appreciated. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, it will never be enough for certain hearts, but it will always be enough for yours. We grow up believing that if we are good enough, sweet enough, accommodating enough, people will treat us with the same grace. We are taught that kindness is a currency, that if we spend it generously, life will return the favor in equal measure. Yet the truth is harder, sharper, and far more liberating once we understand it. Niceness is not a contract. Your willingness to be gentle, patient, and forgiving is not a binding agreement that others must mirror. You do not sign away your soul each time you smile, extend your hand, or offer your time. You are not in a transaction when you choose kindness. You are simply revealing who you are, not what you expect in return. Too often we tie our worth to the responses of others. If they smile back, we feel validated. If they return the favor, we feel seen. If they thank us, we believe we matter. But when they do not, when the silence grows heavy, when the gratitude never comes, when the return is not given, we begin to question ourselves. We wonder, did I not do enough? Was I too much? Should I have been different, stronger, colder, harder? We start to believe that our kindness is somehow defective if it is not received with applause. But kindness is not a performance staged to win the approval of an audience. It is a truth of your being. It is who you are, regardless of how anyone responds. When you understand that niceness is not a contract, you are freed from the invisible chains of expectation. You are no longer bargaining for love, bartering for attention, or negotiating for acceptance. You give because giving is the language of your spirit. You speak softly because harshness does not sit well in your soul. You forgive because carrying bitterness poisons only you. And none of these acts obligate anyone to return the favor. Imagine a garden. The gardener tends to it with devotion, watering, pruning, planting. Some seeds bloom in full color, reaching toward the sun with gratitude. Others lie dormant, never sprouting, never showing any sign of life. Yet the gardener does not abandon the practice of planting simply because not every seed grows. The act of gardening is its own reward, an expression of patience, hope, and beauty. So it is with kindness. You will meet those who blossom because of your care, and you will meet those who remain unchanged, unmoved, unbloomed. Neither outcome makes your labor less meaningful. The danger comes when we begin to confuse kindness with a form of control. Sometimes we give not out of pure compassion, but out of a hidden hope that our niceness will buy us loyalty, affection, or safety. We believe that if we soften ourselves enough, others will never leave us. We think that if we bend far enough, they will never break us. But the world does not work that way. People will still betray, still misunderstand, still dismiss. And if our kindness is rooted in a secret contract, we will feel devastated, cheated, robbed. That is why it is vital to strip kindness of condition. It must not be a tool of manipulation, even a subtle one. It must be an honest reflection of the heart, not a currency of survival. This is not to say you should give endlessly without discernment. There is a wisdom that must accompany kindness, a knowledge that while you owe compassion to the world, you owe protection to yourself. To say niceness is not a contract is not to say you must let people exploit you. It means you recognize that the act of being good does not automatically guarantee that others will be good in return. And knowing this, you guard your energy, you set your boundaries, you choose wisely where to invest your care. Think of the sun. It shines without asking who deserves its light. It warms both the saint and the sinner, the grateful and the ungrateful. But even the sun does not linger in the same place forever. It moves, it sets, it rests, and it rises again. In this same way, you are allowed to shine, but you are also allowed to retreat, to close the door, to walk away when your giving has turned into depletion. Niceness becomes a prison when it is chained to the expectation of reciprocity. But niceness becomes freedom when it is expressed as truth. When you are kind, you are not signing a binding agreement. You are not promising endless endurance. You are not declaring that you will never need rest. You are simply choosing in that moment to honor your spirit. And if the person before you cannot honor it too, that is not your shame. That is their limitation. So let them misunderstand. Let them mistake your gentleness for weakness. Let them imagine your patience means you will tolerate anything. Their perception is not your identity. Your kindness does not exist to convince them. Your kindness exists because it is the truest reflection of the love you carry within. There is a power in releasing others from the debt of your niceness. There is a strength in saying, I did not give because you deserved it. I gave because I am me. I forgave because I could not bear the poison. I helped because it was the right thing, not because I expected applause. This power lifts the burden from your shoulders. It removes the ledger from your heart. It allows you to walk in freedom, knowing that every act of goodness was real, even if no one saw it, even if no one thanked you, even if no one stayed. When you know that niceness is not a contract, you will no longer shrink yourself in bitterness when others fail to measure up. You will no longer waste your energy wondering why they did not return what you gave. You will no longer harden your soul to prove that you are unbreakable. Instead, you will continue in your authenticity, knowing that the world needs people who give without keeping score. And you will also know that you are not bound to keep giving to those who abuse it. Kindness is not a deal struck in silence. It is not a legal document signed in invisible ink. It is a reflection of your soul, a sacred truth about who you are. And once you realize that, you will never again confuse your goodness with a guarantee, nor your compassion with a contract. There are people in this world who do not know the language of love, and so when you speak it, it sounds foreign in their ears. You can whisper kindness until your throat grows weary. You can stretch your arms in generosity until they ache. You can pour your heart into gestures so gentle they could heal wounds, and still, some will look at you as though you've handed them a riddle they cannot solve. Not because you are not giving enough, but because they do not know how to recognize what you are offering. Some hearts cannot receive what they have never been taught to understand. Imagine someone who has lived their entire life in darkness. You strike a match, light a candle, and extend it toward them. To you, it is beauty. To you, it is comfort. To you, it is illumination. But to them, it may be frightening, even painful. They may shield their eyes, recoil, or even lash out, not because the light is wrong, but because their eyes are unaccustomed to it. In the same way, your love, your kindness, your presence may be too much for someone whose spirit has never been nurtured by those things. We often make the mistake of believing that if we give more, if we try harder, if we bend further, we can teach someone to receive love. But love cannot be forced into an unprepared vessel. A heart that has been closed, locked tight by pain, betrayal, or neglect does not open simply because you knock more insistently. Sometimes the louder you knock, the more firmly it bolts itself shut. That truth is painful, but it is also liberating because it reminds you that their inability to receive is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is a reflection of their unhealed wounds. Think about it. How can someone who has only known criticism truly trust praise? How can someone who has only been abandoned believe in loyalty? How can someone who has only tasted bitterness trust the sweetness you offer? They will doubt it. They will question it. They may even sabotage it. And all the while, you may find yourself drained, questioning why your endless outpouring never fills them. It is because the cup they hold is cracked, and no matter how much you pour, it will never stay. That is not your fault. That is not your burden. That is their work to do. The danger lies in taking responsibility for their emptiness. We think, if only I love them harder, they will heal. If only I am kinder, they will learn. If only I forgive again, they will finally change. But healing does not come from the outside in. It comes from within. You cannot force someone to accept light when they are still clinging to the comfort of their darkness. You cannot carry them into freedom if they are not yet ready to leave their chains. Your task is not to break yourself trying to make them whole. Your task is to remain whole even when they cannot receive you. There is a certain grief in this realization, because when you love deeply, you long for your love to be recognized. You want your efforts to matter. You want your tenderness to be met with tenderness in return. And when it is not, it hurts. It feels like rejection, like invisibility, like all your giving has been wasted. But hear this, love is never wasted. Kindness is never wasted. Even when the person cannot hold it, your giving shapes you. It deepens your soul, stretches your compassion, and reveals your strength. Whether or not they can receive it, the act of loving refines you. It may help to remember that some people push away love not because they despise it, but because it terrifies them. To be loved is to be seen, and to be seen is to be vulnerable. Many would rather build walls than risk the cracks that come with intimacy. So when you step into their lives with open hands, offering something they cannot even name, they may retreat. They may dismiss you. They may hurt you, not because you are unworthy, but because they are unready. This is why discernment is so necessary. You must learn to recognize when your kindness is landing on fertile ground and when it is falling on stone. Not every soil will accept your seed, no matter how carefully you plant it. And if you continue pouring yourself into barren ground, you will find yourself depleted, discouraged, and questioning your worth. Protecting your energy does not mean you stop being kind. It means you stop wasting it where it cannot be received. Do not confuse rejection with failure. When someone cannot accept your kindness, it is not proof that you are unkind. When they cannot receive your love, it is not proof that you are unlovable. When they mishandle your generosity, it is not proof that you are foolish. It is simply evidence that some hearts are not yet ready to receive what you bring, and readiness is not something you can control. Think of rain. It falls on every surface. Some of it seeps into the soil, nourishing roots and bringing life. Some of it rolls off stone, never absorbed. Yet the rain does not stop falling simply because the stone does not drink. It fulfills its purpose regardless. In the same way, you must fulfill your purpose by loving, by being kind, by giving where you can. But like the rain, you must also accept that not every surface will respond. That is not a reason to stop raining. It is a reason to flow wisely. So release yourself from the burden of trying to teach people what only time, healing, and grace can show them. You are not their savior. You are not their cure. You are not their missing piece. You are a soul offering light, and whether or not they can hold it, you shine. Some hearts will recognize you, some hearts will not. But your task is not to force recognition. Your task is to remain true, to love without losing yourself, to give without erasing your own needs, to shine without burning out. And when you finally meet the ones who can see you, who can receive you, who can honor your love with equal reverence, you will understand why it never worked with those who could not. Because love must be met with love, or it withers. Kindness must be cherished, or it bruises. Generosity must be honored, or it drains. But when it finally lands where it is meant to, you will know that every drop you gave along the way was not in vain. It was preparing you, refining you, teaching you. Some hearts cannot receive what they do not know, but the day will come when your giving finds the hearts that do. Until then, give wisely, love gently, and remember always. Their inability to receive is not your inability to give. There is a tender lie we often tell ourselves, that if we are kind enough, patient enough, forgiving enough, the storms of life will pass us by. We think that if we give generously, if we smile through our pain, if we bend until we nearly break, somehow the world will shield us from cruelty. We whisper to ourselves that niceness is a kind of protection, a soft armor against the harshness of others. But the truth is harder and sharper. Being nice does not protect you from hurt. It never has, and it never will. Pain is not selective. It does not stop at the door of the kind-hearted and knock only at the homes of the cruel. Heartbreak comes for the generous as well as the selfish. Betrayal finds the loyal as easily as it finds the deceitful. Loss, disappointment, rejection, these shadows do not discriminate. You can live your life pouring love into every hand you meet, and still some of those hands will let you go. You can forgive 70 times 7, and still someone will walk away without looking back. Your niceness does not grant immunity from the sharp edges of living. This truth can feel unbearable at first, because many of us, deep down, are trying to bargain with life. We believe that if we suffer quietly, life will reward us with peace. If we never raise our voices, conflict will pass us by. If we make ourselves small enough, pliant enough, accommodating enough, we will be safe. But safety built on silence is an illusion. And niceness rooted in fear of pain is not kindness at all. It is self-erasure. To live is to be wounded, whether you are gentle or harsh. The question is not whether you can avoid the wounds, but whether you will allow them to harden you or to deepen you. Some people, after being cut too many times, decide to put down their softness altogether. They clothe themselves in bitterness, believing that meanness is armor. They mistake cruelty for strength, thinking that if they hurt first, they will not be hurt again. But that path is a slow death of the soul. It may protect you from being vulnerable, but it also robs you of the very sweetness that makes life worth living. The calling, then, is not to abandon kindness, but to understand it differently. Being nice does not mean you will never be betrayed, but it does mean that when betrayal comes, you will not have lost yourself. Being kind does not mean you will never face cruelty, but it does mean that cruelty will not take root inside you. Niceness is not a shield. It is a seed. It cannot stop the storms from coming, but it can grow gardens in the aftermath. There will be times when your kindness is met with mockery, when your forgiveness is met with exploitation, when your compassion is seen as weakness. These moments sting. They make you want to recoil, to close your hand, to harden your face. But even then, you must remember, the hurt does not mean your kindness was wrong. The wound does not mean your gentleness was wasted. Pain is part of the price of being alive, not a punishment for being good. Think of a rose. Its beauty is undeniable, its fragrance unforgettable, and yet it grows with thorns. To hold it is to risk being pricked, but does that diminish its worth? No, the rose is still the rose. So it is with kindness. Your softness does not guarantee safety, but it guarantees authenticity. It means that when hurt comes, you will still know yourself. You will not have betrayed your own spirit in the attempt to shield it. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson. Being hurt is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing is losing your capacity to love because you are too afraid of being hurt again. Wounds will heal, scars will fade, and you will rise stronger. But when you allow fear to strip you of compassion, when you decide that kindness is too dangerous to carry, you lose something far more precious than safety. You lose your soul's reflection. Do not misunderstand. To be kind does not mean to be foolish. To be nice does not mean to accept mistreatment. Boundaries are as essential to kindness as generosity. A firm no is sometimes the kindest word you can give to yourself and to others. Niceness without wisdom is naivety, but niceness with wisdom is strength. And strength means you can be cut without becoming cruel, you can be bruised without becoming bitter, you can be betrayed without becoming broken. Yes, people will take advantage of you. Yes, you will be misunderstood. Yes, there will be nights when you cry because someone took your kindness and twisted it into a weapon against you. But do not let those moments convince you that your kindness was a mistake. Hurt is inevitable, but who you become through that hurt, that is the choice. The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. The storms rage, whether you sing through them or curse them. Being nice does not alter the path of the clouds, but it does alter the condition of your heart. It ensures that when the storm passes, you are not left hollowed out by hatred, but strengthened by resilience. You learn that kindness is not about safety. It is about truth. It is about choosing again and again to remain human in a world that sometimes forgets how. So let the hurt come because it will come. Let it teach you, shape you, carve wisdom into your bones. But never let it take away your tenderness. For tenderness is not weakness. It is the fiercest defiance against a world that will try to harden you. You are not protected by niceness, but you are defined by it. And in the end, that definition is more powerful than any illusion of safety. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that love without limits is not love, it is surrender. Kindness without balance is not kindness, it is exhaustion. And giving without pause is not generosity, it is self-abandonment. That is why boundaries exist. They are not walls to keep people out. They are doors, clearly marked, showing others how to enter and how to stay. Boundaries are proof of self-respect, the sacred lines drawn to honor your worth. Many of us are taught from childhood that to be nice means never saying no, never pushing back, never turning away. We are told that if we truly care for others, we must always be available, always giving, always ready to sacrifice. And so we grow into adults who apologize for resting, who feel guilty for protecting our peace, who confuse martyrdom with love. But living like that will drain your soul until there is nothing left of you to give. Without boundaries, you will not only lose your energy, you will lose yourself. Respecting yourself begins with understanding that your time, your energy, your heart, and your presence are precious. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to them. You would not leave your door unlocked at night and invite the world to wander through your home. So why leave your soul unguarded, letting anyone trample through your spirit as they please? Setting boundaries is the way you lock your doors, not out of cruelty, but out of wisdom. There is a lie that boundaries are selfish. But the truth is, boundaries are the deepest form of honesty. They say, this is where I end and you begin. This is what I can give and this is where I must rest. This is how I can love you without losing me. That is not selfishness. It is clarity. It is the recognition that you cannot love anyone well if you have abandoned yourself in the process. Think of a river. It flows with strength, it nourishes, it gives life, but the river needs banks to contain it. Without banks, the water spills everywhere, flooding fields, destroying homes, losing its direction. The boundaries of the river are what allow its beauty and power to remain purposeful. So it is with you. Without boundaries, your love, your kindness, your energy spill everywhere, leaving you scattered and depleted. But with boundaries, your giving flows in its right direction, strong, steady, and sustainable. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. Every time you accept disrespect, you send the message that disrespect is tolerable. Every time you remain silent when your soul cries for a no, you tell the world your voice is not worth hearing. But when you stand firm, when you say, this is enough, this is too much, this is what I cannot allow, you declare that your dignity is not negotiable. That declaration is not cruelty, it is courage. It is important to remember that those who benefit from your lack of boundaries will resist them the most. When you begin to stand tall, when you begin to say no to what drains you, when you begin to walk away from what diminishes you, there will be those who call you cold, arrogant, unkind, but their protests are not proof that you are wrong. They are proof that they were feeding on a version of you that had no limits. Their discomfort is the sound of you reclaiming yourself. There is freedom in drawing lines, even when your voice trembles. Because each line you draw is a way of saying, I honor myself. You are telling the world, I am not infinite. I am not invincible. I am human, and I deserve rest, care, and dignity. And in protecting those truths, you become stronger, not weaker. Boundaries do not mean you stop giving. They mean you give wisely. They do not mean you stop loving. They mean you love without betraying yourself. They do not mean you stop forgiving. They mean you forgive without becoming a doormat. Boundaries are not the end of kindness. They are the container that allows kindness to survive. It takes courage to set them. It takes courage to look someone you love in the eye and say, you cannot speak to me that way. It takes courage to walk away from a relationship that feeds on your silence. It takes courage to close your door when your spirit is weary, even if others do not understand. But that courage is the very proof of self-respect. And when you respect yourself, you teach others to respect you too. You may lose people when you set boundaries. That is the truth. Some will walk away because they only love the version of you who gave without limit. Some will resist because they were more invested in your compliance than in your well-being. Let them go. Do not grieve the departure of those who were only committed to your silence, because the ones who truly love you, the ones who honor your spirit, will not be offended by your boundaries. They will be grateful for them. Boundaries are not a wall between you and love. They are the path to authentic love. To live without boundaries is to live half a life, always pouring, always bending, always saying yes while your soul screams no. But to live with boundaries is to step fully into yourself, to walk with dignity, to offer love that is honest, not coerced. It is to stand tall and say, I am worthy of the same respect I so freely give. When you finally understand that boundaries are not barriers but bridges, you will see that they do not keep people out. They guide the right people in. They ensure that those who walk beside you are those who truly value you. They protect the garden of your spirit so that your kindness does not wither under neglect. They remind you every day that self-respect is not optional, it is essential. And so, when you draw your lines, when you speak your no, When you walk away from what diminishes you, know this: you are not being selfish. You are practicing the highest form of love. You are showing yourself the respect that you have always deserved. And in doing so, you are teaching the world that you are not here to be consumed. You are here to be cherished. Your heart is the most sacred home you will ever carry. It is the temple where your dreams are born, the well where your compassion flows, the sanctuary where your truth resides. Yet too often, we open the doors of that temple to anyone who knocks. We hand out keys as though our heart were a public hall instead of a holy place. We allow people to wander through its chambers without discernment, leaving footprints on the floors, breaking windows, and leaving trash behind. But here is the truth that every soul must learn. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. To live fully, you must love fully. But to love wisely, you must guard the sacredness of your soul. There is nothing wrong with having a generous heart. Generosity is a beautiful gift. The danger comes when generosity turns into recklessness, when you allow people who have not earned your trust to sit at the deepest tables of your spirit. Because not all who seek entry come to honor you. Some come to consume, to take, to use, to drain. If you do not discern, your heart becomes an open field for anyone's footprints. Think of a garden. A gardener does not allow every passerby to walk among the flowers. Why? Because some will trample the roses without noticing. Some will pull the petals just for amusement. Some will uproot the plants to keep for themselves. Only those who can respect the work, who can cherish the beauty, are allowed inside. The same must be true of your heart. It is not cruelty to guard it. It is wisdom. Many of us mistake availability for love. We think that if we make ourselves endlessly available, always open, always forgiving, always accessible, then others will value us more. But often the opposite happens. What is freely given without discernment is rarely cherished. People value what is rare, what is protected, what is treated as sacred. When you allow everyone access to your heart, even those who have not proven their intentions, you cheapen your own worth in their eyes. You must understand this. Your heart is not a playground for the careless. It is not a canvas for others to paint their temporary desires. It is not a vessel for every wandering soul to pour their chaos into. It is the dwelling place of your spirit, and it deserves reverence. And reverence requires limits. Reverence requires that you say, not everyone is allowed to enter here. Not everyone can sit at this table. Not everyone has earned the right to hold this sacred trust. The hardest part is accepting that some of the people you love will not respect your heart. You will meet friends who take your loyalty for granted. You will meet lovers who use your kindness as a stepping stone. You will meet family who mistake your patience as permission to wound you again and again. And in these moments, you will be tempted to open the door wider, to give more, to prove your love by sacrificing yourself. But true love does not ask you to bleed endlessly. True love honors the boundary of your heart. You cannot control how others treat your heart, but you can control how close you allow them to it. It is not your duty to give endless chances to those who repeatedly break you. It is not your job to teach someone how to value what they have already chosen to disregard. It is not your purpose to be the healer of every wounded soul that crosses your path. You can care, you can pray, you can wish them well from a distance, but you are not required to hand them the keys to your sanctuary. Understand this clearly. There is a difference between compassion and access. You can be compassionate toward all, but access must be reserved for the few who prove themselves trustworthy. Compassion is universal. It is the rain that falls on everyone. But access is sacred. It is the wellspring reserved for those who will not poison it. If you confuse the two, you will find yourself drained, exhausted, and carrying scars from battles that were never yours to fight. It is not cruel to close the door. It is not heartless to say no. It is not unloving to choose distance. In fact, it is the greatest act of love toward yourself, because every time you guard your heart, you remind yourself that your soul matters. You remind yourself that your love is precious. You remind yourself that not everyone who wants you deserves you. And when you live this way, the right people, the ones who recognize the value of your spirit, will not be pushed away by your boundaries. They will be drawn to them because they will see in your boundaries a reflection of your dignity. Some people will call you selfish for guarding your heart. Let them. Some will accuse you of being cold or arrogant. Let them. Their words are not a reflection of your worth. They are a reflection of their disappointment at being denied access to what they thought they could misuse. Do not apologize for protecting your temple. Do not apologize for locking your doors. Do not apologize for refusing to let those who bring destruction sit in the sanctuary of your soul. Instead, take pride in your discernment. Take pride in your boundaries. Take pride in the wisdom that says, I can love you, I can forgive you, I can wish you well, but I will not hand you the keys to my sacred home. That is not cruelty, it is maturity. That is not selfishness, it is self-respect. Because when you finally honor your own heart, when you finally stop giving access to those who only bring harm, you will discover something remarkable. You will find that the space you protected becomes richer, fuller, more alive. You will find that those who do enter, those rare, chosen few, will honor you in ways you never imagined possible. You will find that your heart blooms again. Not in spite of the boundaries, but because of them. So guard your heart like the treasure it is. Do not let the unworthy treat it like common stone when it is, in truth, a jewel. Do not hand it to those who will drop it carelessly when it is, in truth, fragile and holy. Protect it, honor it, and give it only to those who can stand before it with reverence. For in the end, your heart is not meant for everyone. It is meant for those who recognize its sacredness and treat it as the gift it is. There is a kind of niceness that is not rooted in strength, but in emptiness. It is the smile that hides exhaustion, the yes that swallows resentment, the generosity that drains the giver until there is nothing left. Many people mistake this for goodness. They see the endless giving, the constant forgiveness, the bending and stretching to please others, and they applaud. But what looks like kindness can, in truth, be a wound disguised as virtue. For niceness without self-love is not love at all. It is emptiness dressed in polite words. To be nice without loving yourself is to live like a hollow tree. From the outside, you may look strong and upright. People may rest in your shade, enjoy your presence, and lean against your trunk. But inside, there is rot. Inside, there is nothing to hold you up when the storms come. And so, in trying to be everything for others, you forget to be anything for yourself. And one day, you fall. Not because you were weak, but because you gave everything away and never nourished your roots. Self-love is not arrogance. It is not selfishness. It is not vanity. Self-love is the soil from which true kindness grows. Without it, your niceness will always be conditional, manipulative, or destructive. Because if you do not love yourself, then your kindness is not really a gift, it is a bargain. You give so others might like you. You serve so others might keep you. You forgive so others might not abandon you. But this is not kindness born of freedom. This is survival dressed as virtue. When you do not love yourself, you measure your worth by how much you can do for others. You become addicted to approval, enslaved to the praise of those around you. You sacrifice sleep, peace, and joy in the name of being nice. But niceness at the expense of your well-being is not noble. It is destructive. It empties your spirit until there is nothing left but bitterness, even as you keep smiling. You may fool the world, but you cannot fool your soul. Your soul knows when your niceness is only a mask for your fear of being unloved. True kindness begins with the courage to love yourself, to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of care too, to rest when you are weary, even if others want more from you, to say no when your heart says no, even if it disappoints someone else, to protect your joy as fiercely as you protect others. Because when you love yourself, your kindness flows from abundance. You do not give to earn love, you give because you already live in love. You do not forgive to keep peace, you forgive because peace already resides in you. You do not bend yourself into fragments, you stand whole, and from your wholeness others are nourished. Imagine pouring water from an empty pitcher. No matter how noble your intentions, nothing will flow. And yet this is what so many of us try to do: pour out love, support, and compassion from a soul we have neglected. We forget to refill, to rest, to heal, to nurture ourselves. Then we wonder why our kindness is met with ingratitude, why we feel unseen and unheard, why our heart aches in silence. The truth is simple. If you do not pour into yourself, you will always run dry. There is a dangerous myth in the world that tells us self-love is selfish, that to put yourself first is to abandon others, that to protect your energy is unkind. But this is a lie. Self-love is not selfish, it is foundational. When you tend to your own soul, you expand your capacity to tend to others. When you respect yourself, you teach others how to respect you. When you love yourself, you give the world a model of how love should look. And from that place, your niceness is no longer empty, it becomes powerful. Think of a musician who plays from a full heart. Every note carries richness, every sound carries depth. Now imagine a musician who plays only to please the crowd, ignoring the pain in their hands, the exhaustion in their body. The song may still sound sweet for a while, but eventually the music will falter. The same is true of niceness. When it flows from self-love, it is a symphony. When it flows from emptiness, it is noise. Niceness without self-love also makes you vulnerable to manipulation, because when you do not value yourself, you allow others to decide your value, and some people will take advantage of this. They will learn that you never say no, so they will keep asking. They will learn that you always forgive, so they will keep wounding. They will learn that you always put yourself last, so they will always put you there. But when you love yourself, you rise. You say, I will not be used. I will not be diminished. I will not be emptied for the comfort of those who do not care for my soul. The beauty of self-love is that it transforms your niceness into something unshakable. You are no longer nice because you fear rejection. You are nice because kindness is your nature. You are no longer generous because you want approval. You are generous because love overflows in you. You are no longer forgiving because you are afraid to lose someone. You are forgiving because you refuse to lose yourself. That is the difference between emptiness and abundance. If you want your niceness to mean something, begin by turning some of it inward. Speak kindly to yourself when you fail. Rest without guilt when you are tired. Celebrate your own victories, no matter how small. Stand in the mirror and affirm that you deserve the same compassion you extend to others. Fill yourself until your kindness flows like a river, steady, strong, and impossible to dry out. Because niceness without self-love will always leave you weary. But niceness rooted in self-love will sustain you and uplift everyone around you. The world does not need more empty smiles and tired souls. The world needs hearts so full of love for themselves that kindness flows naturally, abundantly, and without fear. There comes a time when you must trust that the goodness inside of you was never meant to be wasted, even if some have mishandled it. Your kindness is not a mistake. Your compassion is not foolishness. Your tenderness is not weakness. Though there will be those who misuse it, dismiss it, or take it for granted, the truth stands tall. Your kindness will find its home. Every act of love, every gesture of patience, every word of encouragement you have ever spoken still lives. Even if it was not valued by the one who received it, it was not wasted. Kindness is like a seed. You may never see where it lands, but it always carries life inside it. Some will fall on rocky ground where hearts too hardened cannot nurture it. Some will fall among thorns where selfishness and cruelty choke it out. But others will fall into good soil, and in time they will bloom in ways you cannot imagine. It is easy to believe after disappointment that kindness is a curse, that the more you give, the more people will take, that the more you open, the more others will wound. But the truth is, kindness is not the problem. Placement is. Not every soul can hold the weight of your love. Not every spirit can honor the depth of your giving. But somewhere, there are hearts waiting for exactly what you carry. Somewhere, there are souls thirsty for the water your spirit pours. Somewhere, there are people who will look at your kindness and not see an opportunity to exploit it, but a miracle to treasure. You must remember that the universe is not careless with gifts. If kindness lives in you, it was planted there for a reason. It was meant to move through you, to shape lives, to soften hearts, to heal wounds. It may not always find its way in the places you first try to give it, but it will not die there. It will circle back, it will find another path, it will move where it is welcomed. Like rivers carving their way through stone, kindness always finds its course. There are those who will make you doubt yourself. They will take your kindness as weakness, your giving as naivety, your forgiveness as foolishness. And when you encounter such people, you may be tempted to harden, to shut down, to stop pouring out what makes you who you are. But do not let the callousness of others turn you into something you are not. Do not let their inability to receive convince you that you have nothing worth giving. They are not the measure of your gift. They are not the final word on your worth. Your kindness will find its home. It may take time, and it may not be where you expect, but it will. Because kindness is magnetic. It draws the right souls in, even as it repels the wrong ones. The people who were never meant to honor your heart may drift away, but the ones who are meant to see you, to value you, to honor your spirit, they will come. And when they come, your kindness will not feel like emptiness. It will feel like fullness overflowing into the right vessel. There is a quiet justice in the world that ensures kindness does not vanish. Every time you chose to forgive, you planted peace. Every time you offered a helping hand, you planted hope. Every time you chose gentleness instead of cruelty, you planted love. And though some seeds may take years to bloom, bloom they will. And some will bloom in ways you never see. A stranger you smiled at may remember your warmth on their darkest day. A friend you encouraged may go on to encourage thousands. A word you spoke may echo in a heart long after you are gone. That is the beauty of kindness. It multiplies. What you give returns, not always through the same hands, not always in the same form, not always on the same timeline, but it returns. And when it does, it comes back pressed down, shaken together, running over. That is why you cannot stop giving, even when it feels like no one notices. Because someone, somewhere, is being reshaped by your light. But let this also be clear. For kindness to find its home, you must carry it with wisdom. Do not throw pearls to those who trample them. Do not keep pouring where the vessel has no bottom. Do not confuse persistence with purpose. Sometimes the greatest act of kindness you can give is to withhold yourself from those who misuse you, so that your love can find a truer place to rest. Protection is not cruelty, it is direction. It ensures that the gift you carry flows to where it can be honored, not wasted. In time, you will look back and see it. The people who mishandled you were never the end of your story. They were only part of the journey. They were the rocky soil that taught you discernment. They were the thorns that taught you boundaries. They were the deserts that reminded you of the value of water. But they were never the destination. The destination is the fertile ground where your kindness is seen, cherished, and reciprocated.